Hi, welcome to another episode of Hot Takes. Now, we all know, so I'm not going to tell you anything you don't know, but we all know that your little Tesco Express convenience stores that you find on corners or in little parades and things, food in there is more expensive if you went to the Tesco Superstore or the big hypermarkets, the Tesco Extra, because economies of scale. This is how it is. Your throughput is quicker in a big store. Storage costs. People don't realise this. Put something on a shelf until it's sold. That shelf space costs. And there's a far higher throughput in a big store than there is in a little one. Overhead per capita is bigger as well, because although you can hire more people for a superstore, in terms of divide that number of people hired into the area of the store, it's fewer people per square feet. That has got a direct effect on cost. All sorts of overheads. Now, that's why food in the little convenience versions, I may say Tesco's the same with Asda, Sainsbury's, you name it, right? They all have the same thing. Costs more in the little ones than it does in the big ones. We accept that because we're not dumb. We know that supermarkets aren't providing a social service. They're in it to make money. About 45 years ago, out on the east side of Luton, Fine Fair, do you remember Fine Fair? They opened up this huge, big supermarket. It was seemed nothing like it. They used to run free buses from all around the town, take you up there. And all the other supermarkets hated it, and so they had to pick the game up. And it was the first of the big supermarkets, hypermarkets, if you will, in Luton. And in the end, Sainsbury's and Tesco's both built their own big ones, because that's not fair stamp feet, that's business. Fine Fair, my God, there's a blast from the past. Anyway, I think, no, it is. It's an Asda now. Anyway, there are reasons. We know the reasons why the little shops cost more. Now, the government don't like this. They're saying that these little convenience shops tend to be in more lower paid, less affluent, poorer areas, whereas the big hypermarkets tend to be in the more well-paid areas. Well, there's a reason for that too, isn't there? And that reason is profit. If you're going to open up and spend all that money and all that investment in building this superstore, you're not going to do it in between two impoverished housing estates. You're going to do it somewhere near all the leafy avenues, where people will turn up in their Range Rovers, fill the boot, and not think anything about spending £300. Well, the government don't like it. They're saying it unfairly affects the poor, and so they're looking at legislation now that means that supermarkets will have to sell the same goods for the same price, whether it's in their biggest hypermarket or their tiniest convenience store. Oh, genius idea. Again, this is the government thinking that they know what they're doing, when they clearly don't. Because here's the thing. What do you think will happen, children? Well, it's obvious. If Tesco's told it has to sell those products at the same price, it'll look at that little convenience store and go, we're losing money on that, aren't we? Yeah, close it. Done. And then it won't be a Tesco's, it'll be a Spar or a Budgeon, or worst of all, a bloody Co-op. All of which are more expensive than your Tesco's or your Sainsbury's or your Asda's. For exactly the same reasons. Economies of scale. You get the little Spars, you get the little Budgeons, and they're absolutely perfectly good shops. I have no complaints with them at all. If it's a convenience store and it's there and it's open, you need something, my God, you're on your way home from work, you suddenly realise there's not a pint of milk in the house and you fancy a cup of tea. It's 9 o'clock. Oh my God, luckily the Spar's open. You run up the Spar or something, mate. Absolutely fine. But you expect to pay a lot more for your milk there than you would in Asda's. Now, that will be what happens. And so what you're actually going to end up with is either food deserts, where there won't be a supermarket locally, and where people who are poor won't have easy access to get to a supermarket to buy that lower price food, or the replacement stores that go in will be even more expensive than the store they've just replaced. And so this government is sitting there going, oh, we don't like something and we're going to force it to change. Boom. And we're going to make poor people even worse off. And that's because the government are filled with dicks who don't understand business. And this is an example. They don't understand business. They don't understand retail. They don't understand balance sheets. They don't understand accounts. They don't understand sweet F A. They are so dim. And yet Labour are going, oh, we're going to help the poor people. Oh, yes, look at us helping the poor people. Yeah, God help us. Meanwhile, the poor people will either starve to death or be bankrupt as food, which is already for the poor a very large proportion, a large section of any income they get. That will be an even larger proportion because the food price has gone up. The cost of feeding their children is now possibly beyond their ability. Genius move. Well played, socialists, you absolute donkeys. If you truly want to help, if you truly want to make lives of people better, stop taxing them. Lower the taxes, create the jobs, and maybe some of them go and get a better job. Then they won't have to worry about the extra 4p on a tin of beans, you muppets. For the rest of us, though, what do? You've got to put up with this. Absolute genius. I mean, you see it, I see it, we all see it. Why can they not see it? Surely it isn't just a matter of intelligence. Let me know what you think. Thanks very much. Bye.